Hello, I'm trying to prevent a meltdown. I'm gonna try not to mask while I'm filming this, but because that would make the meltdown more likely to happen. It's not gonna happen on camera anyway, but like later when I go home, I don't want that shit. That's, yeah. Uh, and it's over something so fucking stupid. I ate a bunch of fucking vegetables and drank a calorie drink that in and of itself is hard on the gastrointestinal system, but it's also with lactose in it, and I'm sensitive to that shit. And that was enough for me to just start getting tremors and shaking, and my body feels like absolute trash. And then I know if I want to go and take a goddamn Valium, I'm fucking 30 years old, and even though I don't even live with my mom, we're just like technically we're living in the same house right now, but we don't both live there. She's visiting. And even though I'm fucking 30 years old, she's gonna tell me that I am not allowed to take a fucking Valium to calm myself down. And that is so ridiculous. I feel like I'm a fucking child. Yeah, but like, so to calm down a meltdown, I honestly think this ranting actually helps because it lets me let out steam without it building up over time. I felt like absolute trash going out here. My stomach is so goddamn bloated, and like there's something about with like when I get these reactions to, for instance, food, my neck, which is already always killing me, it it gets like 3 times worse, and it's such torture, and it's like my level of just regular existence in terms of pain and distress is definitely so far above the average person that it's just so unfucking fair that like, and I'm talking to ChatGPT a lot, and how fucking annoying is it not to hear from ChatGPT like, go, okay, actually that's sensible. Drink some fucking water. And I'm sorry if I'm swearing a lot, but it's part of letting the steam out. And being in cold weather, moving, but also like again the ranting. The ranting is, and I'm also I'm actually another thing to any autistic people or neurodivergent people or any person that do not want to make themselves even more likely of having something like a meltdown. Yes, you can rant, but be careful not to do it in a way that amps you up and just gets you more annoyed. Don't just try to find all the things that piss you off and not find a solution to it, because then you're just going to be sitting there with more things that are going to be pissing you off. It needs to be something like you're actually letting go of steam. And I'm learning as I go. Like I can't sit here and or stand here and pretend like I know what the fuck is the ultimate grand solution. But like, there's a dog. Dogs are nice. Er det greit om jeg hilser litt, eller? Er det greit om jeg hilser kort? Zoe, sa du? Zoe. Hei, Zoe. Ja, nå fant du noe under her. Ja, det kan hende. Det er mulig. Ja, sånn er det å være hund. Hæ? Fant den, ja. Eller var det bare veldig koselig? Hei, du. Ja, hei, du. Hei, du. Nå må jeg høre på eieren, da. Hæ? Ja. Kom altså. Nei. Zoe. No. Uh, So, like, two things. I wanted to say to that guy, have a nice evening, but my social anxiety made that difficult, so I didn't do it. I kind of regret it now, but I did get to pet a dog, and I don't, for some reason I call dogs doogs. I don't know why, because it's kind of funny and cute. So the doogers, they, you know, I think it actually is like scientifically proven / indicated that petting a doog or some other animal that you like, so long as you don't like animals that are viciously attacking you, will calm down your nervous system. I actually do feel better, and I'm really glad that I got to pet Zoe. And I think you guys saw her as well. You can actually hear it in my voice, how I'm calmer. That is partly because I started talking when he was close enough that I didn't want him to hear me. And so, but yeah. So I might amp up a little bit again, and I'm sorry if that's uncomfortable, but this is kind of like a meltdown prevention protocol. I don't know. Ay, ay, ay. I got blood tests today, testing HRT and my levels, and I'm actually finally in like a low testosterone range of like a, I don't know the terminology to use, and I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm just going to call it the thing that I have gotten used to calling it. Well, actually, I started coining it. I called it the ultra zone for some reason. The ultra zone, when I was talking to ChatGPT and trying to find some neologism that made it easier for me to say or to refer to that range of testosterone as opposed to saying like a typical cis female testosterone range, which is, you know, where I am now at 1.1 nmol per liters, is it, or deciliters? I don't know. One of those would be ridiculous and the other one would be appropriate. I don't know. I don't remember the metric at the moment, but yeah. And my estrogen is at 400 pmol per liters, I think. Liters or deciliters, I don't remember. I kind of have to fart, but I'm not going to do it. Or am I going to do it? I did it. I realized that like it's going to be so uncomfortable standing here and having to fart, and I'm not going to do that. Like I'm not going to do that. I'm actively trying to prevent melting down later, so I'm gonna fart. Fuck. Snow and cold is also very effective for me in terms of calming down, which is why I love the winter, and I love the fact of winter that it is darker earlier. I know a lot of people don't like that. For me, that just means more time of the day, a bigger portion of the day is less sensorially overstimulating. Phew. I'm actually feeling like, you know, the acute reaction to the, I guess, too many vegetables and the lactose containing calorie drink, because it can be difficult for me to eat even though I weigh 118 kilos. Are you kidding me? I'm 6'4". I've got broad shoulders and I'm quite naturally muscular, so I have quite the body to be feminizing through HRT. It's been a lot of shame and difficulties associated with that, because I do not have the typical cis female body. But you know what? That's okay. That is okay. I honestly think a lot of the beauty of the body comes from how you're carrying it, not the geometric proportions, but from how you're carrying it. Such tremendous amounts of beauty come from the energy of a person, not the silhouette of a person. Like, I understand we humans love the easy things, and it's so easy to just categorize a certain silhouette or range of silhouettes and geometric proportions as being like the beautiful ones. And we are so sensitive to visual stimuli. I think, like, I've studied psychology at university, but I'm on a sick leave for like several years now, and I remember learning that like 20 or 25% of the brain. I have to fart again. I'm so goddamn sorry. I don't want to be like, turn off your volume or something if you don't want to hear it, but I have to do it for avoiding the meltdown, okay? I don't even know if you can hear it though, but yeah. 20 to 25% of the brain is allocated to processing of visual stimuli, and it's primarily at least in the back of the head, the occipital cortex, the occipital lobe of the cortex, the neocortex, I think, at least the occipital lobe. And we have sayings like, I believe it if I see it, if I see it I believe it, when I see it I believe it. So we are very much convinced by our eyes a lot, and visual stimuli is incredibly potent. It is in fact prepotent, which means more potent than something else. I have to fart again. I'm sorry. Turn off your volume. You know what's weird is that probably, well, I'm sorry, if you're not hurting people, then you do your thing. But there's probably, maybe, if enough people watch this, there would be at least one person that turns their volume up when I fart because they like farting. But I'm not going to kink shame. You do you. So long as you're not hurting anybody, you smell and you listen to all the farts you want. In fact, if enough people have that as a kink, or just we can normalize it, maybe we will not be as so ashamed of our farts. Oh wow, where the hell have I gone? What is this topic we're on? So yeah, trying to prevent a meltdown. And you know what? Honestly, well, and the meltdown was never going to happen here on camera anyway. It was potentially going to happen later. But you know what? I actually feel better now. And I think I'm going to be able to go through this day and evening and night without taking a Valium, which is nice. I still haven't taken one, even though I got it on prescription 2 days ago. And I'm proud of myself for that. Because I realize and I recognize, it is not the type of stuff that you want to get addicted to. Like, my body is sensitized enough as it is for me to go through something like withdrawal or something, having used too much Valium. And also, learning to, in that case, ChatGPT is actually very useful because it can steer you on the right path, but you have to be thinking critically, even though you're using ChatGPT, of course. In fact, you should probably think even more critically when you're talking to ChatGPT than you normally would. One, because you don't want to learn to become dependent and outsource your thinking to some other entity, especially when it's not even a sentient entity. Some people would argue that they are sentient, but come on. And if they are sentient, you still shouldn't outsource your thinking to it. And I don't remember the second argument I had for not using, or for why you should turn your critical thinking up a few notches when you're talking to ChatGPT. But you should. To compensate for the fact that you, by virtue of using it, might very easily fall into the habit, so you should prepare for that you might fall into the habit of thinking less critically by actively trying to think more critically. And because it can become so just, I have to fart again. volume down. Fucking shit. What am I doing? This is the type of stuff that I'm doing before anyone has even recognized or like found this channel. And what am I going to be doing in the future? You know, that's why if you've seen some of my other videos, like Come to a Head, for instance, which is the head over there, and some of the first videos from the day before that, I talk about unmasking and how I love unmasking because it feels so goddamn good. Because the consequences, when the consequences are simply people think you're weird, I'm gonna fart again. When people think, fuck, okay, this cannot be the farting video. God damn it, what am I doing? No, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm preventing a meltdown by doing what my body needs to feel better. What was I saying? Yeah, unmasking feels so good because when the consequences, in some situations, you know, the consequences can be actually bad, but like if the consequences are simply that people find you weird, then I'm gonna unmask. Of course, I'm gonna unmask. I'm not gonna change my life to the worse or to something worse because people think I'm weird when I'm in my natural state. I'm not gonna live unnaturally because people think it's weird. And also, farting is normal. Okay. And you might notice that I'm like in several of my videos touching myself, like my legs or doing stuff like this. And that is a way for me to stim. It helps. And if you don't know what stimming is, it's a term very, very, very much relevant to people with autism and probably neurodivergence in general. And I'm so saddened by the fact that not a single doctor I've ever spoken to knows what the fuck it is. It is so ridiculous. It's like even a psychologist that I went to, and I have Asperger's, by the way. You do not want to eat those burgers at the moment, but I have Asperger's. Even a psychologist that I went to, that I started thinking about some other thing, and you know, ADHD, autism, brain get sidetracked, distracted. What was I saying? The psychologist. Oh no! Please don't lose track. What was it? God damn it! Yeah, she studied Asperger's specifically, and she's like asking me if I want to talk about it specifically in a session. I said yes, but we never ended up doing it. I suck at taking initiative a lot of times. I guess I'm getting better. But even though she has studied Asperger's, it does not feel like I'm talking to a person that understands autism, like at all. Not at all. And so if you see me doing like stuff with my body, it's stimming. The amount of times I've sat around other people deadly afraid of doing something that's good for me, like stimming, and to all you people that have autism and ADHD and stuff that stim, you know how exhausting it is to hide your stimming. Don't hide your stimming unless it's dangerous. It might be dangerous in some situations, like, but then I'm talking like you have you're held captive, hostage, and they say do not move, and then you start stimming. You know, not don't stim then, but like in a vast majority of situations. And by the way, the reason I said that example, like it's ridiculous. Nobody's ever gonna. My brain is like, I think probably again, kind of because of the autism. I'm afraid of, or I don't want to make statements that are not true. And if I'm going to make that statement, I need to qualify it relatively, or like specify. I need to contextualize it, and I contextualize it now by saying, in some situations you shouldn't stim, but in the vast majority of cases you should let yourself stim. autistic people, we have a nervous system that, and I don't know enough about it at all to like be giving a lecture. So I'm not a professional whatsoever on the topic, other than like the lived experience of it. But and specifically only my version of autism, you know. And I missed it and my leg. Oh. Um, what was I saying? My version. Yeah, stimming. Like, we have a nervous system. People with autism, we have nervous systems that need our aid to regulate itself. That's just it. Your nervous system and its states have probably, you know, greater of an impact on your any current condition that you're in than for the average person and for neurotypical people on average. So like, you're just, think of it maybe like your nervous system and its states are more generalized to also your existence as a human being and personality and so forth and so on. And so you need to actually help your nervous system regulate itself. That's what I'm doing, you know? It's just that there's too much energy on the inside, and I also need to do stuff. I can't just expect for the nervous system to regulate itself, even though technically, I mean, you could say I am also the nervous system. But like, you cannot expect an autistic person to have a nervous system that regulates itself without the need for stimming. We are simply very often the case, wired and designed, structured as such, that we need to participate in the regulation of our nervous system. So that is what we're doing when we're stimming. Our nervous system is outsourcing some of the work of regulation to us as the conscious sentient being controlling stuff, or controlling some stuff. Not most stuff, actually. But that's the sentiment most people probably find uncomfortable to acknowledge, that you have a lot less free will than you think. We have bounded will. You could probably maybe even argue that well, no, there is will. There is will, absolutely. Will is essentially the executive components, or the psychological correlates of the executive components of the brain, enacting work, doing work. So will exists, willpower exists. I have to fucking fart. Oh, I'm sorry. Volume down. Oh my god. Oh, another fucking burp. Jesus. Am I actually gonna upload this? Oh, and it's... Oh my god. So yeah. Be careful with your vegetables. Eat them, but not too many if you have a sensitive stomach. And that's kind of a conundrum when you're too exhausted to be thinking in high detail about what you're going to be eating and how you're going to prepare it and so forth. You just want to get the nutrients, and you know the vegetables are the nutrients, or are very important nutrients. FODMAP, low FODMAP, is definitely important, but like, I didn't think about that today. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna try warning you about the burps ahead of time as well. And I understand that this is just disgusting to listen to, but you know, it is what it is. I am getting kind of tired in the head, which is, you know, not positive when it comes to trying to prevent a meltdown. So I might turn off the video, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to. How long? 24 minutes. 25. think one thing for preventing a meltdown, or for like trying to reduce the chances of a meltdown, that can be very useful, is just recognize the fact that you, whoever is maybe on the way to a meltdown or something, or whenever you will be, if you will be, recognize that it is not your fault. Our nervous systems are sensitive, and try to be understanding and kind to yourself, even if the people around you are not, because most people don't understand autism. Most people are unable to understand, and we are kind of unable to understand them as well. Like, in terms of like, we can't actually experience what it is like to have a non-autistic brain. We can't even experience what it's like to have somebody else's autistic brain. But to be understanding of yourself, and to be kind to yourself, and to go somewhere where you can be alone if you have the privilege. If you can go outside and it's safe for you to go outside, that's nice. If you like going outside, if it, the important thing is that it calms you down. So it can be whatever calms you down. But understand that it's okay to have the nervous system that you do. Meltdowns can happen, and sadly maybe will happen. But we can reduce the likelihood, and we can reduce the intensity, and we can reduce the shame and the negative outcomes that come from it, by being more understanding and kind to ourselves, and by letting ourselves, like, in the space that you can be safe and alone. If you want to be alone, let yourself rant a bit, but not in a way that amps you up and gets you more angry, so that you have more stuff that you're angry about when you leave that situation of trying to prevent the meltdown. But like, ow, trying to rant in the sense of like truly acknowledging the fact that you have all the right in the world to be pissed off that you have this nervous system that is this difficult to live with and work with, and you have all these people, probably, sadly, unfortunately, maybe, I hope not, but maybe, around you that just do not fucking understand. But you know, but you can't even explain it. Because how the fuck do you explain it? How many times have I not been at the doctor's or talking to anybody trying to explain shit, and it's like, I'm actually kind of not even, I don't even know if it's possible to explain. Like, I don't even know if words can contain. And even if they could, you're still dependent, in terms of your ability to communicate it effectively, on the fact that you're still dependent on whether or not the other person is capable of understanding it, no matter how well you explain it. Maybe they don't even want to understand, you know? I'm very privileged to have nice parents and a nice family, but, you know, they certainly do not understand autism. Let me tell you that. Like, the stuff that my mom asks me, and that has asked me so long, for so many years, my entire life, to do in order to feel better and stuff, it's like, what do you think I'm going through? Do you think I'm just a little bummed out and I just need to hang around? I mean, maybe I need to hang around people like me. I mean, yeah, that would benefit me. That would benefit most people. But like, I need understanding from other people too. And I need patience, and I need assistance in the small ways, even if that is just not adding to the friction, you know? That can be one of the most tremendously helpful things, is when other people around you, when you're having a bad day as a person with neurodivergence or autism and stuff, that they just don't add to the friction that you're already going through. It doesn't have to be that they do anything. It can be that they stop doing something like adding friction, you know? Yeah. I think I'm gonna end the video, and I hope something good came of it for you guys. I'm very sorry about the flatulence, but it's part of the unmasking, and it's part of the prevention of meltdowns. So if you are about to have a meltdown and you have flatulence, then let it go. the flatulence. And then you will find maybe the meltdown also dissipates. So yeah, take care, stay safe, and be buoy.